This is NFA Talk, the show that talks about guns and gun rights, keeping you up to date with what's currently going on, from the newest guns, promotions, and events, plus how we're lobbying for your rights.
All right, I'm Jordan Vandenhoff. Joining me tonight, we have Rick Ickersich and Blair Hagan. Tonight is the Season 3 wrap-up, and it's hard to believe that we've been on the air for 3 years now. We've gone through it all, so I think what we're going to do tonight is we're going to go over 2022, and it's been one heck of a roller coaster ride for firearms owners. So, I mean, well, I guess we'll go back to the beginning when, we knew this new legislation was coming forward and what we thought it was going to do and what it turned out to do. So, I mean, I don't know. Do you guys want to jump in and maybe give some thought on C21 and how it really turned into a roller coaster ride for us?
Sure, I'd start off. Merry Christmas, everybody, and Happy New Year. C21 started off as a magazine restriction handgun movement stoppage bill, and it just snowballed to today's configuration, which is just a nightmare.
Right.
It started off with the handgun freeze that everybody's aware of, and then the minister's ministerial powers to stop all imports of handguns into Canada. And there was a bunch of hidden parts of that bill at first too. The magazine restrictions, they wanted everything restricted to 3 or 5 shots, depending what it was. They were talking blocking lever guns and tubular 22s, and then it just escalated onto there. And basically, in a nutshell, and we'll touch on this, it started off they ended up by putting an amendment to it by attaching the original order in council to the bill, which in our opinion was nothing more than a way to get out of the buyout part of the bill when they attached to this one. And with that, they attached another 430 hunting firearms to the bill also. So basically, in a nutshell, that's what before we dissect and get deeper into it, that's basically where we're at with C21.
My God, I mean, It just incredible. I mean, and I have to point out, this is classic liberal overreach. You've got a bunch of bureaucrats and lawyers in the background going, let's really stick it to these guys. They know their government is in bad shape. They know their government is essentially on the way out. So what do? You take it out on your most hated segment of Canadian society. And that's people who believe in the Canadian right and cultural tradition of firearms ownership and who practice it. So this is, if everybody out there is kind of taking this personally, you're supposed to, okay? Because it is personal. It's personal on their side, and it's very personal on our side. And the machinations of the bureaucracy of putting little hidden catch-22s and, oh, you didn't see this, but we put it there, and that sort of thing. This is not the first time it's done, but it's being done to achieve the same effect and more, to create as much havoc in this legislation as possible, to provide for the maximum extraction of private property from individuals. And that's going on right now. I mean, the bill has not passed, but with the handgun freeze and the various other things that are going on, people are losing property. Canadians are losing property when they get in the circumstances that they don't have a lot of options. Well, unfortunately, the easiest option in a lot of cases is just to surrender that property, where previously it could have been transferred or sold legally, and an individual or the estate could realize the economic benefit from it. Now you can't. Now it's just turn it in, that's it, go away. And it's something we hear about every day, and we will remember this. The Liberals will never again be able to claim that they don't want to disarm people, they don't want to confiscate guns. It's all there. Okay, it's in C21. It's in the handgun freeze, the import freeze, the prohibition of, my God, the tens of thousands legally owned firearms.
You made a good point. You made a good point there, Blair, when you said catch-22, because there's some 22 plinksters that are in that have been added to the Order in Council ban list, the prohib list.
Yeah, and justified by the experts at Firearms Program. Oh, geez.
Yeah. But now the tactics that they're using, though. So I mean, they sold C21 to the public and to the House as a bill, like Rick said, it freezes handguns. There was some rubbish about red flag laws that we already have in place, and nobody, even the witnesses, had a very hard time with the red flag laws. So they sold it as a handgun freeze. They sold it as a few other small things with magazine capacities, and they knew the bill was pretty much going to get gutted down to next to nothing, which make them look really bad. So at the 11th hour, that's when they dropped this, G4 and G46. On top of the plate in the clause by clause section. So that the tactics they used. But I mean, going back a little bit earlier, look at the handgun freeze. Like we knew something was coming, and then all of a sudden, importation was taken away. Okay, so people are buying guns like crazy, and then they didn't announce anything. They even their administration people said that, hey, they kind of give the firearms community and the stores a heads up, and then all of a sudden, as of I think it was a Friday, at 12:01 a.m. in the morning, no more handguns could be transferred. So like it's just the tactics that they're using on this. Like they're clearly showing that, hey, we're sticking it to you guys, right? And then and the same thing with the G4 and the G46. Like we kind of knew something was coming along the lines. We figured maybe it was going to be in another bill, but Marco did say in the House that, hey, they have this planned and they have to complete this, but we didn't think it was going to be part of C21. So they got the first reading passed, they got the second reading passed, it goes on to committee, and then all of a sudden, boom, they drop this whole thing that changes the whole scope of the bill.
In the 11th hour. In the 11th hour, they did it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it changes the whole scope of the bill. And because, the chair is part of the Liberal Party, he said, I'm going to allow it. That should never have been allowed. This changed the whole scope of the bill. All the witnesses that came before them, the committee did not have a chance to talk with them, ask them questions on the G4 and the G46. So like that in itself is very sneaky in its own. So
total contempt for the rights and property of Canadians. But what it did do was made a controversial bill even more controversial, because now you have certainly members of the NDP party, backbench members of the Liberal Party, and First Nations across Canada very, very upset by that move. Okay, and I think that was probably the biggest mistake of the Liberal government, because they thought all of our fellow travelers will have to support this bill. If you support gun control, you must support this bill as it is put forward, and that didn't happen, and that's not happening because the ramifications on the rights and property of so many Canadians, and not just us. I mean, the stereotypical gun owners, conservative voting gun owners, but people from all walks of life. They didn't. I mean, it's the crass stupidity of the Liberal Party of Canada, where they have an ideological commitment to driving this. They don't care about its effects on Canadians. If you're hurt by this, well, that's too bad for you. And frankly, there's not that many people who own guns in Canada anyway, so it's not a problem. Big problem. There's a lot of Canadians who own guns.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, Blair. Even that G4 amendment, that so-called evergreen amendment, when they don't have a definition for something, they make one up. Assault weapon. Assault style firearm. So let's make one up and call it the evergreen G4 amendment. It's ludicrous.
Let me ask you guys this: have we got a definition yet? Because I still haven't seen anything on this definition of assault style.
No,
it's evergreen. There doesn't have to be a definition, because it's always evolving.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got a pistol grip. Oh, it's got a shoulder thing that goes up. Yeah. Oh, it's got a metal thing with holes in it, or one of those things on the end that screws in. Assault style. Yeah. And it's completely ridiculous. And it's evocative of what happened in the early 1990s. under Bill C-17 with Kim Campbell. Somebody out there might remember that, where they had a point system where if it had all of these features, and if it added up to like 5 or 6 of these features, oh, well, then it's an assault style firearm and it's banned.
Yeah.
And the geniuses who think this up, I honestly, I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss because there's no logical way to defend this. Okay, they really don't. They don't like modern firearms. And today, modern sporting rifles, the platforms that we all own and enjoy, those are the modern sporting arms for this age. They're hunting rifles, they're sporting rifles. All of the gun sports and hunting and the uses of firearms in Canada are done with these type of firearms. They are modern sporting arms, including handguns. Okay, and the Liberals really see that as an expanding gun culture. They don't want to encourage that. They want to severely crack down and limit it, and eventually just totally expunge it. So they see this as a method of doing that, and they're just completely wrong in this country because politics is a bit. Guns are a big political issue in Canada. They should have learned that from the experience of the gun registry. They should have learned that in elections in the past, but they don't, because this Liberal Party in particular has an ideological commitment to civil disarmament.
Yeah, the other side of the coin of this thing is too, and everybody knows that we're their go-to. When they were struggling with the ArriveCan app, the Bitcoin scandal with their MPs, the tragedy in Nova Scotia, with Bill Blair telling untruths, and well, you know what, they're lies. I'm going to call a liar a liar. That's just the way it is. With Brenda Lucky telling untruths, with all that going on. They needed some place to go, and guess what, folks? Guess where they went again? Right to law-abiding Canadian firearms owners.
Now, have you guys been paying attention to the language that they use, though? I mean, like we're no longer firearms. When they talk about it, it's weapons.
Yeah.
These weapons. Like the hunters will have to turn in their weapons. No, they're tools. Right.
Yeah.
The language that they use, assault style, and there's no place in Canada for these weapons that can kill the most amount of people in the least amount of time. Well, now are we gonna let's define that? Like where do we go? Like Blair said, are we gonna have a point system? Are we gonna have to figure out which gun can kill the most amount of people, or it's just predetermined? I mean, we know the answer. It's predetermined. They just want every gun gone at the end of the day. But like. They're coming up with all these terms. As far as I'm concerned, they failed in May 1st, 2020. Right, they still have not confiscated one firearm yet from the May 1st. And now we're going down the road where Trudeau did a year-end interview with Rosemary Barton. And basically, he said, well, unfortunately, the hunters some of the guns are going to get caught up. Pretty much all the guns are going to get caught up in that. And we're just going to have to do a buyback. So now he's starting another buyback, and we haven't even started. We haven't even done the first one yet. I mean, I don't want to buy. Don't get me wrong. Anybody that's listening, I don't want to buy back. They're not getting nothing. I say that with, I'm going to be lawful. I'm going to clarify that. I'm going to be lawful. I would rather deactivate and keep my stuff than give it to them. Right, I'm going to stay within the law, but
no. We are going to defeat.
But I'm not going down without a fight. Like I said, I'm not going down without a fight. So we've got many things on the go. We have a court challenge going on still with Cassie from KKS Tactical, and unfortunately, what happened? They had to close the store. But I mean that's another thing that this government has done. They're starting to close down stores because why? There's no inventory. When handguns are 40-50% of your sales, and then you have all these other guns that made up the difference, and now you're stuck with a single bolt action gun, hoping that it doesn't get banned.
This is the agenda of the Liberal Party.
Yeah,
okay, you attack it on several different fronts, and destroying the firearms industry in Canada is another one of those fronts. Fewer stores, fewer guns, fewer opportunities to purchase firearms. it's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, and this is nothing new for the Liberals. They started it off with their classification of firearms, basically death by attrition to people that were grandfathered because those firearms aren't going anywhere. The handguns definitely aren't going anywhere as of today. And that's their plan. And now it's stop. Put a freeze on the movement of handguns. Okay, so you're stuck with those guns. And I haven't heard yet. Maybe you have, Blair. What's going on with people that have passed away since? And they had handguns. What's going on with that?
Yeah.
Have
Firearms in the States, there is very, very limited opportunities to transfer handguns now, and CFOs have been given the parameters of where it is legal to do so. Okay, and as we heard previously, it was competition shooters, the various shooting disciplines, and export. So what the Liberals are really counting on, certainly in the short term, while they are in government, is basically firearms in a state, and most Canadians, they own maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 handguns. They're probably just regular guns. They're not particularly valuable. They've probably been in the family for a lot of years. And when the time comes, the owner passes away. Well, you can transfer them to to a competition shooter. Well, we don't know any competition shooters. Okay, well, you can export them
just to clarify that, Blair, Olympic competition shooters. Which there's probably less than 20 in Canada, I would estimate. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and you're not going to transfer a Smith & Wesson 38 to an Olympic shooter. But so you can export them to the USA. Well, we checked into that, but the fees to do that are going to be more than what the guns are worth. So, okay, what else can we do? Well, you can turn them into the police, and that is what the Liberals hope is going to happen, and it is happening right now. I mean, I can't believe it. I know there's bureaucrats, in back rooms sitting this stuff up. How do we eliminate handguns in Canada? We do this, it'll have this effect. We do that, that'll have that effect. And well, isn't this people's property? Well, no, it's not really property. I mean, these people are sick. They are sick in the head. Okay, they are so consumed by their ideological agenda that they are perfectly willing to destroy the lives of Canadians to do it. The lives, the property, the culture of Canadians, because, hey, we don't matter. We're not their voters.
No,
they know it.
No. And the thing is too, and we've touched on this before with these firearms. Some fella that brought some relics back from the war. Enfields or Webleys, and collected it for years. Added a few more on over the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and there's some substantial collections out there that, with their thoughts being either they were going to be bequeathed to their heirs, or they were going to be sold to help their families out. Yes. The Liberals basically are costing these people thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, in some cases by doing this, and they don't care. They don't care. There's no mention of any kind of compensation because you're stuck with your handguns. They just don't care. Blair, you hit the nail on the head again. They don't care. They have an end game, and they're running towards that end game no matter what.
Well, what really sickens me is, though, there's no justification for this. We know, licensed firearms owners, very, 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 very small percentage of a problem, right? We're talking 0.00% of a problem. We have illegal guns being smuggled in. We have all these guns coming in from across the U.S. They're given to the gangbangers and criminals. Those are the people that do not follow the laws to begin with. So, and I've said this in prior NFA talks, a Band-Aid law over a Band-Aid law over another Band-Aid is not going to solve the problem. You could take all the guns away from Canadians, and we're still going to have these illegal guns coming in and this gun crime. And then what are they going to do? They're going to be sitting there scratching their head. It doesn't make any sense. And who suffers? We suffer. Your loved one just passes away. You said you have to turn them into the police. I know of an instance where someone has passed away and the cops actually showed up because nobody in the household had a PAL, and they went and took the firearms right off the hop. And they called me. They said, "What should I do?" And I said, "Well, you as an executor, you can get them back, right? And they said, well, they just came in and took them. So they're you can see the motive here, what they're doing, what they're doing, and what their direction has been, and it's to get these guns and get them out, right?
And it's always been that way. Back in the day, many years ago, a National Farms Association put out a pamphlet what to do with farms in the states, and it said there right on the back of the pamphlet, "Your husband is dead. Now give us his guns." And because people don't understand the law regarding firearms, especially as it pertains to estates. What do I do? What do I do? There's so much going on that they count on the fact that the widow or the executor doesn't know, doesn't care. Just get them out of here. We'll deal with it later. And it's wrong, because this is people's property, and it is important property in an estate. And it's under assault by the Liberals these days. I mean, the mask is off now. I mean, they can't say, "Hey, we respect people's rights and property." No, you don't. You hold them in contempt. And frankly, at this point in time, I just have to say, the current Liberal Party of Canada is a Marxist party. They are Marxists. They don't believe in rights, property. They certainly hate our culture of responsible firearms ownership. And they have to go. For the good of all of Canada, they must be defeated. Things will change.
Yeah, all of 2022 was an all-out assault on law-abiding Canadians, right from the get-go. It's an all-out assault on law-abiding Canadians. From one step to another. Start a bill off. Sounded fairly simple. We knew what direction it was going. It found, and they had a lot of hidden stuff in it that they weren't really the media. Well, the Liberal-controlled mainstream media is not going to talk about that stuff anyway. And, just escalated. That's been our year at the NFA, watching these guys do an all-out assault on law-abiding Canadians. And you know what, folks? We're not going to let that happen. Like I say, we've got the Cassie Premack case going, and we also have our legal team working on some other stuff that we're holding. We don't want the Liberals to get a heads up on, but as soon as we have something we're going to go with, we'll let you know about it. It's one of those things where we have to hold our cards close to our chest. But like I say, we've been on this right from the start. We projected a lot of this stuff. The end game, I never would have thought, and I don't think any one of us would have thought, with adding the whole OIC list, attaching it to this bill, and then adding a bunch more guns. That one kind of took us by surprise a bit, but you know what? We're dealing with it. So, that's our position so far. Like I say, 2022 has been probably the worst year I remember, as an all-out assault on law-abiding Canadians.
Certainly. But let me ask you guys a question. What was the most important thing that happened in 2022?
The most important thing,
in terms of gun politics.
In terms of gun politics?
Yeah.
Important, positive or negative?
I guess I would say positive.
Really, there's nothing positive that I can think of in gun politics, other than the Conservatives challenging the Liberals at committee. I can't really foresee anything else that's positive.
Can I put something out there?
Let me take a go at it first. So it shows us the parties and where they stand. It brings out where the Liberals stand on firearms. And it opens the conversation to all Canadians, and it also brings out the conversation of property rights and property rights for everything, not just firearms in Canada. If the Liberals can, or any, not just the Liberals, but if any government can do this, what's the next government going to do, or what is this current government in power going to do in the near future if they stay in power?
Just to add to that too, what it did also, one positive thing. It brought a lot of people to the forefront of firearms that weren't involved before, that didn't want to be involved. The guys that had the Cooey shotgun in the closet, or the Browning Auto 5, and all of a sudden their guns all of a sudden are not. All of a sudden they're on the ban list. There's the guy's Benelli shotguns on the ban list, and also it brought a lot of people. It brought a lot of people out that weren't out before.
It united the firearms community.
It united the firearms community, and it united the lobby groups. That's one positive. Unfortunately, there's a lot more negatives, but the one positive is there's a lot more people involved and interested right now.
Okay. Let me say this: the most important thing that happened politically, not only for farms community, but I think all Canadians, the election of Pierre Poilievre as Conservative leader.
Yep, that's a big one.
I mean, absolutely. If we're gonna get out of this mess, multiple messes that Canada is experiencing right now, it's going to take a change of government. The Liberals have to be defeated. We've seen this in previous elections too. I mean, the first election after the Trudeau majority, where Andrew Scheer ran, reduced Justin to a minority, but did not win. The election after that with Aaron O'Toole ran a very, we were sure that we're going to have a change of government then until he flip-flopped at the end of the campaign and blew the election. But the fact that the Conservative Party of Canada has a credible, viable leader now who has experience in government, I think puts Canada on a very, very strong course. I think we can have a change of government now. I think Canadians are ready for a change of government now.
They better be.
Well, I mean, just look at the state of this country. Okay, I mean, the economy, the most divisive government in Canadian history. I mean, people are going to look back on this government and go, "What the hell was his problem?" Okay, he was so woke that his mind was so open that his brains fell out, and he went after the wrong people. He really damaged the lives of a lot of Canadians, and it was time to defeat him. Thank God Canadians had an alternative in Pierre Poilievre to do it. So I think that was the most important thing to happen in 2022, the election of Pierre Poilievre, and to lead the Conservatives into the next federal election.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing on the other end of the spectrum is the Jagmeet Singh Justin Trudeau marriage made in hell. That's probably the worst thing that could have happened, and that's the only reason the Liberals are in power right now. But I think that's pretty shaky right now, and I think that's I'm hoping anyway. I'm hoping that's coming to a bitter end soon.
Well, I mean, Justin better got got the NDP a nice Christmas gift, because it really is shaky. They're demanding. Justin gave them that dental program, but I don't know I don't know if he's going to go any further with them. And I just can't see them holding out till 2025.
It's not going to get better. They're not going to get any more popular. I mean, that party's got to be looking at, Justin has been leader, prime minister for 7 years now. Okay. And things have gotten steadily worse. 2016, miracle majority, everybody's happy, big change in Canada. And, it's just got progressively worse. And the only reason they've stayed in power is because the Conservatives did not have effective leaders or policies or programs to dislodge that government. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who vote Liberal just because, or they like Justin's socks or his hair, or they just don't like the Conservative leader. They don't think the party is credible. But I think right now that's completely changed. Again, the previous Conservative Party had a lot of problems, okay, and especially in the last election, where the PPC came on very, very strong, and they came on strong for a reason, because the CPC at the time was abandoning Conservative voters, trying to go for that mushy middle, where it's just like, hey, we're not, the old red Tory tradition, and hey. People have choices in this country. They have choices where to park their vote. If you abandon your constituency, and we've seen this before, certainly in the early 1990s in the Reform Revolution, your voters are going to go someplace else. Don't count on holding those votes. Don't take them for granted. I think this Conservative Party of today has taken that to heart. Certainly, the policies they have right now are very good. They're performing very, very strongly in Parliament. The Liberals are performing very, very badly in Parliament right now. So it's not sunny ways, sunny days for the Liberal Party anymore. This is a very old government, a very old party. The leader the bloom is off the rose. Okay, so
Yeah.
I think people got to look forward to 2023. And we can defeat this. We can defeat the liberal civil disarmament agenda. We've done it in the past. Okay, I mean, nobody ever thought long gun registration would end, or any of the other reforms that we achieved. You know, I was thinking about this the other day. And I remember C68 and the gun registry in the 1990s very, very vividly, because I was there, right? You know, I was there for the entire experience of that, right up till the election of the Harper Conservatives in 2006 and the ending of long gun registration in 2012. And I was thinking about this the other day. It's like we're an entirely new generation beyond that now. We've got a new generation of people involved in this now who weren't even alive back then. They have no reference to that. You know, they don't know. They don't really know what happened because they didn't experience that. And I'm thinking, my God, you know, this is where we at now, entirely new generation. Some of those people maybe even, you know, watching this tonight may have even voted for Justin once or twice, going, hey, you know, he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
But, you know, with what the Liberals have done now, this is going to be their reference for the Liberal Party for the rest of their lives. You know, just as you know, men of my father's generation hated Pierre Elliott Trudeau for all kinds of different reasons. People of my generation hated the Liberals of that time for a whole variety of reasons, including firearms, their civil disarmament agenda. This new generation who are experiencing the threat of confiscation, the trampling of their rights, the utter contempt of the Liberal Party, they are gonna remember this for the rest of their lives. And if they voted Liberal in the past, they're probably cured of that now.
Yeah. You know, and we at Canada's National Firearms Association, we're not going to tell anybody how to vote, but we're going to have the most up-to-date current information out there. You know, you can take the information, dissect it for yourself, but we're going to provide you with the information. You know, I'm not going to tell you not to vote PPC or Liberal or Conservative, but I'm going to definitely, and our team is going to get the most current, best information out to you people so you can make a good decision.
Yeah, we're not going to tell you how to vote, but if you want to keep your firearms, vote Conservatives.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure they don't understand it. Why are they coming after me? I'm not the problem.
Yeah.
Well, we've been telling you this for years, you know. Well, I'm new. I didn't know. You know now.
So let's roll on with this. You know, I mean, we'll move on a little bit further down. So, you know, C21, I mean, it was, you know, everybody was on their edge. Were they going to get it in before the Christmas break? And, you know, I don't want to say we stalled. They actually did the right thing. And I'm going to say, you know, like the NDP, Alistair McGregor there, and Michelle, I forget her last name, from the Bloc, you know, they actually did something good where they said, wait a minute, let's give this a fair chance. They didn't just go with the Liberals on it. You know, they actually said, you know, this is not right. We're not doing this proper. Let's take a step back and redo this. Right. So from my understanding, they all couldn't come to a conclusion by the end of Christmas break. So we're going to find out if they're going to allow 4 more or 8 more meetings. And they're going to get new witnesses in so they can actually testify against G4 and G46.
Yeah.
So
there's something in there, Jordan, that the Conservatives are limited to 2 days of witnesses only, though. Isn't there something like that in there?
Well, that was the original amendment, and I think it got. I mean, it was, if you were watching it, you were like, "Holy smokes, where are we at now?" Because it was like amendment upon amendment. Yeah. They were trying everything to shut this down. They wanted to get it done. The Liberals wanted to come out and say, "Hey, we got this done before Christmas. We said we were going to do it. We're moving on to the next stage. Let's get it off to the Senate." And then they start bullying the Senate to get this bill passed as quickly as possible so they can put this legislation through. Right. Now, you know, for us, it's a great thing because, you know, they're going to start hearing the court cases. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. It's in April.
Yep.
Right. So
April 15th. Yep.
Perfect. And so, you know, if they were to pass C21 to this before this court case, it might just throw the court case completely out because it goes with law. It's in there, right? So the fact that now we can start the court case because they have not pushed it through, and it's not likely they're going to push it through unless they pull a Hail Mary and they really ram it through. At least our court case will be able to be heard. So, everybody that's listening, don't lose hope. There's a lot that's going to happen. I'm getting emails. I'm seeing stuff on the social media. We're compromising. We're compromising. No, that's not how it works. We're working within the law to change the law. The bill drops. We can't snap our fingers, and it doesn't happen the next day where everything gets reversed.
I understand people's frustration, but
it is frustrating.
But you have to realize there is a political process in this country that has to be gone through, and I get the same emails and communications all the time. What are we going to do about this class action lawsuit? That'll stop it. It's not going to stop anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Certain legal actions are absolutely necessary in a situation like this where we have a government where we are waiting for an election. What do you do in the meantime? Yes, there are certain legal avenues that we take and will take and are undertaking to deal with the proposed bill. Absolutely, no question about it. But there is no single solution to this beyond defeating the Liberals.
Okay, we're strategizing. We're strategizing daily, basically, is what Blair is talking about. There is no single solution. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. But you know what? To use an American term, the Conservatives are doing a really good job at filibustering this. If we just need to get this process till the court cases are heard, because even if one part of any court case happens to go our way, it's going to put this whole bill C21 in jeopardy. It's a process. It's the strategy changes daily because the liberals are coming at us in all different directions. One day they come at us this way, the next day they come at us this way. Fortunately now they're getting some heat from their own members. They're getting some heat from the NDP. And that's a good thing. That puts us in a little bit of a better position. But like I say, we need to hang in there for a few more months and get these court cases heard.
Yeah, I mean, and you nailed it there too. Like, there's a lot of NDP members that are speaking out to this, and there are a lot of MPs in the Liberal caucus that are saying too, like, this is really going to affect my constituency. Like, we got to talk about this. Trudeau has signaled that he's willing. First he said he's not backing down. So like C21 in his eyes is going through no matter what. He says we're going to make amendments, and I think this is another tactic, and you guys can tell me I'm wrong when this goes down, but they're gonna pump up this one gun that everybody loves, and they say, okay, we're gonna give you that one gun, and meanwhile we've all forgot about the other 429 guns that are on the list and the variants of those guns, because you got to remember, variant's a big word in this one, because a lot more guns are going to be captured by that variant, and how the RCMP classifies that, right?
Another evergreen definition of a variant. It's never ending.
At this point, it will not earn them any more support for this. And yes, I mean, even those NDP and Liberal MPs who are getting hard by their constituents, and this is another example, boy, did Canadian gun owners ever learn a lesson. You must be politically active, and they're active right now, and they're active with their NDP and Liberal MPs, and that's beautiful. It's exactly what they should be doing. But I mean, we'll offer a little amendments here and a little amendments there. The fact of the matter is, no, I mean, this is so broad that everybody's ox is being gored here in one way or another, where it's like one gun, another gun, this sort of thing. No, I mean, there are just so many guns that, first of all, there's no way that they could buy them all back. Are you kidding? You're going to cripple the Canadian. You're going to cripple the Canadian economy even more than it already has been to do this. No, this is a political ploy for a government that has lost its way, that is going into an election and has to fight that election on something. They have to have something to hold out to their progressive supporters. And the fact of the matter is that even progressive voters in this country don't vote on gun control. They vote on other issues. So this is not going to earn them any votes. They're literally that desperate.
Yeah, that's our biggest challenge too, is the people that aren't politically active. There's hundreds of thousands of firearms owners out there that, went to a gun store, bought a gun, took it home, shot some gophers with it or target practice with it or went trap shooting. And they're not politically active because they say, well, you know what? I worked hard. I made some money. I went and bought this gun. I paid taxes. I brought this gun home. It's my personal property. But now with this shift, people are starting to realize that, wow, my personal property, they're trying to say that it's not mine.
Yep.
It's I bought it, I paid the taxes on it, I worked hard. I paid taxes when I worked, plus I paid taxes when I bought the gun. And all of a sudden they want to take it away from me. And I think it was a bit of an awakening. And I'm hoping, like I say, it's a big challenge for us, but I'm hoping a lot of people see where this is going and become politically active and join a gun lobby. Let's get out there and fight these. The more masses we can amass, the better job we're going to do. There's a lot of voters out there that didn't know anything about gun lobbies or firearms rights or anything else, but now they're becoming aware.
I know for a fact that it is happening. I mean, we in NFA, our membership is expanding because of this. Unfortunately, It takes the threat of legislation and that sort of thing for our membership to grow. It's welcome anyways, but historically that's how it does. But I mean, my wife sits on a conservative EDA, and even their EDA grew. It doubled the members of the EDA just in anticipation of the next election. They want to go to work. They are so troubled and frustrated by the actions of this government that they want to take action to defeat them. Okay,
yeah,
so
Jordan and myself both sit on conservative EDAs also, and you know what, the rumbling started a few weeks ago, and I tell you that people have their noses to the grindstone. I'm telling you, they want to work. People are
they're motivated. We're motivated now.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I got to say, even firearms owners are motivated. Like, everyone was saying, don't worry about the letter campaigns; they don't work. People have been writing in, and like I've talked to quite a few people within the parties, and they say, yeah, they're getting bombarded with letters. So it's not going unnoticed. They're noticing this, and that's what we need. Like, keep the letters coming. It's not useless to do it. Keep it coming. Let this government know how you feel.
Absolutely.
Have a meeting with your MP. Go see your MP. Express your concerns. They have to, you're a constituent. They have to listen to you. Go see your MP, tell them your concerns, tell them what's going on, besides firearms, your personal property and everything else that's going on in this country. That's, it's the most biggest backwards move in Canada that I've ever seen. And I've been around for quite a while,
Unfortunately, my MP refuses to see me. I've contacted him numerous times through email. I've sent letters. I've called the office. I've asked for an appointment. I've asked for a phone call, and he really does not want to talk to me, and that's I guess that's his choice.
Well,
I mean,
I guess he can't count on your support then.
Yeah, he has.
Exactly.
He didn't have my support in 2015. He's not getting it in 2023.
My MP is Leslie Lewis, and she's really her position on firearms is really solid, and it's she's easy to talk to, and there's a few MPs out there like that. It's the other ones that we need to reach, is the NDPs
I'll tell you,
and the Liberals.
Leslie Lewis is I count him among the few but growing members of Parliament who really understands this issue. Okay,
Yeah.
She is fantastic.
Yeah, she is.
Maybe how it's how it interrelates with other issues, but she definitely gets it, and she is a fantastic MP, and you should count yourself lucky to have her.
Well, I mean, the whole CPC, they have a stellar team right now.
Yeah,
like Dane Lloyd, Raquel Dancho, like they're very strong. And they've been really tasking the Liberals on this. And some of the Liberal language, like a 223 can liquefy organs. Like they use these buzzwords and these things that they know the media is going to take snippets of and push it out there to fearmonger. The rest of the population. And you got to remember too, like there's three groups in Canada: firearms owners, haters, and then just people that want to live their life and do their own hobby and, grow old and retire, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
And when these people that are just out there doing their own thing, they start seeing this false misinformation, disinformation, I'll use that term because that's one of theirs, that liquefy organs. They're going, oh my God, my neighbor's got a hunting rifle, and if he misses, he's going to liquefy my organs.
I'll tell you, there's
brutal.
not a lot of Canadians, less and less every year, who are listening to that sort of message coming from politicians, number one, and the mainstream media, number two, because they know they're being manipulated now. Okay, that's why we have alternative media. Okay, that's why the mainstream legacy media is dying. That's why Justin Trudeau had to bail them out, had to buy them to keep them in place so that he could count on them. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're worried about people across this country going, oh, gee, liquefying organs, that's no good, maybe I should support this. It's not happening, because the way the gun issue in Canada breaks down today, the only real votes to be had on gun control is from gun owners, okay, because we turn out and vote. There have been very, very few points in this country's history where votes on promising more gun laws have actually transpired into votes. Okay, there is no public demand for this going on right now, despite the attempts by the Liberals to try to create one. There is no political demand. This is a wedge issue that the Liberals want to drive because, hey, it worked in the last federal election. They squeaked it back in. Maybe they can do the same again today. I kind of doubt it, because I think the Conservatives certainly have learned their lesson. I think the NDP are certainly waking up and going, hey, a lot of our people are going to be negatively affected by this, and if we support it, we're going to suffer political damage. And that goes for Liberal backbenchers too. This affects so many people in Canada today that if you stand shoulder to shoulder with Justin Trudeau, you're going to pay the price for that.
Yeah. The Liberals, the last election, classic example. They just jump over weakness when Aaron O'Toole made a shift towards the center and towards the left. They were all on that. Next thing you know, it was nothing but firearm attack ads all over TV. Pushing the issue. I never seen anything like it. But they took advantage of it. It worked. It worked 100%. They discredit the guy. He did. He had a different answer every day. And the people now, our leaders have to stick to their guns. Don't shift. And that's what upset a lot of voters last time was the shift. Start off in one direction and end up 180 degrees by the end of it. It didn't. And it disillusioned a lot of voters, and people went to alternative parties. NDP. They switched. We can't let that happen this time. Yeah.
No, he divides the urban and the rural. He divides it up, and that's how he got his votes. I mean, look at Toronto.
Yeah.
If the way Canada works, if you've got Toronto on board, your run to winning prime minister is pretty good.
Not so much anymore.
I don't know. There's that concentration of all those ridings. Some of them which are basically two city blocks in size that are concentrating. There's 24 or 3. I can't remember the exact number, but there's a bunch of them in one spot. Kind of looks like a red square on the map. Oh, red square. Imagine that. What is that? Yeah. But anyway, It's so. I think that's some of the people we got to vote. But Leslie Lewis made a really good comment. A strong NDP party takes away Liberal votes also. And if some of those ridings would shift over to NDP, that would put the CPC party in a lot better position. Liberal voters, a lot of Liberal voters won't vote Conservative, but they will vote NDP. And that's going to be the big deciding factor if this election does come to the forefront, because I don't know how much money the NDP have to go to another election. The talk is that they don't have very much, but we need I hate to say it, but a strong NDP helps the CPC party get a lot stronger.
Sure. There's all kinds of variations
Yeah,
to political fortunes in Canada, and I think what you're talking or alluding to maybe is even strategic voting.
yeah.
I think the next election is going to be a referendum on Justin's handling of the economy. Number one, this holy cow, are things in bad shape? I mean, inflation is skyrocketing. It's
Yeah, what are we? We're over
literally
what,
killing
7%?
it. It's
We're over
literally
7. We're over 7%,
yeah.
I think. Like
It's
Yeah.
it's.
literally killing Canadians right
Mhm.
now,
Yep.
and everyone is affected by it. And a few well-heeled voters in Toronto are not going to be enough to return Justin the government, because there is just too many. There's too many people in this country who are being negatively affected. Number one, the economy, jobs. Inflation,
Price
what
of
kind of
gas, carbon
price of cat?
tax.
Well,
Yeah.
carbon tax is a huge one.
Taking advantage of law-abiding Canadians by putting emergency measures acts into place. A lot of
Emergency
that's going to come into play.
It's all
Yeah.
going to come into play, carbon tax, especially in Western
Mm.
Canada, because holy cow, this is seen as an economic attack on certainly Western Canada, but the entire country.
But
Yeah.
like the scandals, scandal upon scandal, the Arrive scam. Like I still don't think they have any idea where all that money went. And that
Yeah.
was something like 50, was it $54 million?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's supposed to go to a company that doesn't even exist, or
Yeah.
or they say that they didn't receive it. Like it's just
CERB payments.
Yeah. The Bitcoin thing with
people in jail and dead people got CERB payments
CERB, yeah.
apparently. Like seriously.
And then now people who got them, and it's like, oh, now you got to pay it back, huh? What?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
mean it
How am I
wasn't
gonna do
free?
that? It wasn't free.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
wasn't
sounded
free.
free.
Yeah, yeah. There's nothing free in Canada under a Liberal government. I'll tell you that.
That's
And
what they say
like
in
they
the
say,
end.
like that Bitcoin thing where 20 some Liberal MPs were involved in that. That got thrown under the carpet. The Emergency Measures Act thing. That's they're shuffling there, and they're spinning back onto us, of course.
Foreign interference.
Foreign interference.
A whole bunch of MPs got some money apparently from China.
Yeah,
Oh.
there's talk of Chinese. I don't know if there's any truth
Alleged.
to it, but there's Chinese troops training in Canada and in the north, cold weather training. I don't know if there's a bunch of rumors out there, but you know what? Rumors are rumors, but still, there might be some truth to some of this stuff. And like I say, foreign interference is a big thing. The Americans are learning that the hard way also with foreign interference. And in today's world with social media and here reaching just about everybody. Back in the day, you didn't, what you read in the newspaper is what you read in the newspaper or saw on, on CBC News, something that I never watched. But
Which is why they want to pass a bill to control what you see on the internet.
Oh, there you go. Was it
Exactly.
C11?
C11.
C11, right? And there's a couple other bills that kind of, they all go together, right? Like
Yeah.
I've kind of been following C11, but I know there's another couple bills there that they all kind of intertwine, and they basically the government's going to put a muzzle. Like, I mean, our show right here could probably be in jeopardy. If they want to, was the CRA, what controls the CT?
Canadian Regulatory Corporation, CRC or whatever it is.
I mean, we might have to buy a license to broadcast this. I don't we're Canadians, we're on Canadian soil, so I don't know how that's going to work, right? It's that's just silly. Like, that's one of the many of things that's just goofy out there. And I wasn't going to go there tonight, but I'm going to go there with this. The latest thing that's come out was a gun that they prohibited on, that's going to be prohibited. It was on the named list for C21. Do you guys know what it is?
The Plinkster 22.
No, they called it the Buttmaster.
Oh, the Buttmaster. There's one in existence.
There's only one in existence, and the person that's manufactured it still owns it today
in the States.
In the States, it's not even in Canada, and it's basically a pen gun that, in order to load this thing, you pretty much have to disassemble it and reassemble it, and it's got like a little thing on the side, and you release it, and it shoots a 22 LR. Very dangerous, right? they call it the Buttmaster. It got named on C21. Now, there's only one in existence, and I think other people in the firearms community have already asked this question. How did they find out about it? How did they know about it?
They watch YouTube. That's how they did.
Yeah, but there wasn't really no, like, I mean, they basically went to the States and they asked for their list of NFA guns. Is generally what everybody's saying, and they found this gun that was made, and they said, oh, we got to ban it, it's terrible. But they didn't really actually do any research. It goes to show how stupid they are. They're just trying to put, we got to get as many guns on this list as we can to make it look like we are doing a lot.
Just to clarify that before we go any further, we need to clarify that the NFA in the United States is a whole lot different than the NFA in Canada. It's a what is it? The National Firearms Act.
National Firearms Act.
Yeah. It's not the same as Canada's National Firearms Association. They're actually the exact opposite. So just to clarify that.
Yeah, no, but I mean they did that to the HKG-11 back in the day. None in circulation, none in private hands, but it goes on the list because we saw it in a magazine. It's
what's really funny though too, because it was already captured under the 12.6 prohibition, right? Like it's got a very short barrel. It's not used for any sporting.
I think it's 32 caliber too, isn't it?
I thought it was 20. I thought it was two.
Oh, maybe.
Regardless, it already falls into a category where it is prohibited and not allowed to be imported into Canada. So they're putting it on this list because it's another gun on the list. They can go back and they say, hey, we got another 430. We got another 431. But it just makes them look stupid. It's just stupid.
And this will come back on them when this gets readdressed in a new legislative agenda under a new government. Oh boy, are we going to bring this back on them?
Oh
you supported this regulation based on this criteria. Will you please explain that here? Will you please explain yourself how you arrived at that? Well, that's complete nonsense, sir. If you knew what you were talking about, you would never have lended your support to it. So their chickens are going to come home to roost.
Oh yeah. We're going to make sure of that. I can hardly wait, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Well, it's like back in 2020, right? AR15.com. They put that on the list. They put coffee on the list because it's all. It goes to show you, like, the people that are writing this legislation and writing these guns out, they absolutely have no idea what they're doing.
It's a bunch of bureaucrats that are dictating the laws that don't know anything about firearms. It's what they take the FRT tables and they go through it. Oh yeah, that looks like a scary one. We'll put that one on the list. Okay, what does Justin want for a total today? I think 1,500 would be good. Let's put 1,500 on the list. And that list, I think, is over 1,800 now. But anyway,
and that's what they did with handguns under C-68. Because don't forget, when that process got started in '94, basically the Liberals went and said, "Well, we want to ban handguns in Canada." And they said, "Well, you can't really do that because this is going to be the ramifications. There are so many in Canada that you're either going to have to buy them back or whatever." So they said, "Okay, well, we won't ban all of them. We want to ban half the handguns in Canada. How can we do this?" So they sent it to the techs, and I got this straight from one of the techs who was actually tasked with this. How do you ban half of the handguns in Canada? So they went, okay, what criteria can we use? You could ban all the 25 caliber handguns.
Saturday night specials.
There you go. Okay, is that half of the handguns in Canada? Nope. Well, you could also ban all the 32 caliber handguns. Oh, hey, there we go. I mean, is that half of the handguns in Canada, 25 and 32 caliber handguns? Nope, that doesn't add up. We need more. What else can we use? Well, you could also ban handguns with barrels under 4 inches. If you ban handguns, if you added those guns, barrels under 4 1/4 inches, that would bring it up to about half of the registered handguns in Canada. And that's what they did. And that's the criteria they used. Did it make any difference to public safety? Hell no. And I dare somebody to make any suggestion that banning 25, 32 caliber handguns, barrels under 4 1/4 inches, did anything to make the Canadians safer. It did not. It attacked the rights and property of Canadians, and that's all it did. That
Yeah,
is all
it's
it
just
did.
it's just like magazine restrictions. Show us evidence that it did anything.
No, it did. No, I mean, it didn't. I mean, look around the world. You know, you can always manufacture your own overcapacity magazine. They cannot stop illegal handguns from coming across the border, and they're going to stop. They're going to stop illegal magazines, which are even more easily conveyed. Come on.
Yeah. The big thing. Well, it's something with under a 4-inch barrel. It's really easy to conceal, and you could commit a crime with it.
Well,
And we've done demonstrations on this show where we took a prohib and we took just a restricted pistol and held them up, and the prohib was a lot bigger than the restricted pistol. None of it makes any sense, Blair. You pretty much summed it up there when they said, you know what, they get the phone call. Okay, Justin, we've got another 2,000 guns. What's next? What do you want to do next? Oh, let's go something with adjustable sights, maybe. Okay, we'll try that next.
Let's ban sniper scopes.
Yeah, sniper scopes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, seriously, I think these fantastic, fantasies of the gun control lobby, that hey, whatever you want, we'll do it here. Just whatever you want. Frankly, I think it's some hardcore anti-gun bureaucrats who are getting daily text suggestions from the poly kids.
Yeah.
What else can we ban? Well, we'll ban sniper scopes and the shoulder thing that goes up, and any gun that is black, and any gun that it's unjustifiable. And well, the good thing about it is they're being forced to justify it now.
Well, and that's the thing. There's groups out there that that dictate what the government says. They don't listen to us, but they listen to other groups. And that's just the way it is. It's whatever works in their benefit to get the heat off themselves. That's what they do. And it's not going to change until we change this government. The liberals have to go. And at the end of the day, I think people have really woke up in the last 4 or 5 months and realized, wow, these guys are overreaching as much as they can overreach now. It's time to put this to an end. Like I say.
Absolutely.
But Rick, do you think that maybe that not a lot of people have woken up yet? I mean, I don't know. Look at the polls. Polls are polls, and I know they're skewed and they can go all over the place. But I mean, just look at the polls, though. And they're asking certain questions, and I know the medias can make it go whichever way they want, but still, they've got an answer out there. And I would have thought that the Liberals would be bombing in the polls, and they're not.
Well, I don't know about your email box, but mine's pretty full every day with people that are coming around that I've never heard from before. So if that's any indication, I hope it's that's a question that I can't answer, Jordan, how many people out there, but I can tell you what's going on in my world, and I think Blair's seeing the same thing. There's a lot more people asking questions and wondering what's going on than ever before. My email box is full just about every day with people. What's going on? Where do we stand? Where do I stand with my dad's handguns? Where do I stand with my Winchester Model 94 that holds 7 rounds in the tube? Where do I stand with all that stuff? Those are the kind of questions I get on a daily basis.
The liberals were polling to retain government in 2006. They were polling to defeat Stephen Harper in 2012. I mean, if you're relying on polls to gauge the political direction of this country, well, you're going to be very, very poorly served. Okay, you have to look at political trends. You have to look at very important things like the economy. You have to look at leadership, and certainly Justin has not demonstrated any leadership. And frankly, up to this point, unfortunately, conservative leaders have fallen short in that capacity as well. It's a different day in Canada now, and we are getting to a crisis point on so many issues where the only way it's going to be decided is through an election. Justin Trudeau does not, forget about banning guns. He doesn't even have a justification to mandate. He does not have a mandate to govern this country.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just wait for it, Blair. The big reset. The big reset's coming. That's going to be his next thing. You just watch. That's my prediction.
Big reset. I think Justin's government is going to be reset to opposition, and
That's what my
and hopefully lose party status, because that's what they deserve. I mean, what they have done to this country and Canadians. But the fact of the matter is, no, we're getting to a crisis point where a lot of things have to be decided, and the only way you can decide that is in a federal election. And Justin knows this. That's why he held all those elections, to try to regain his majority. I don't have a mandate to govern here. I don't have a mandate to legislate. Okay. Because in order to do so, you have to have a clear mandate from Canadians, with a very strong minority or a majority government. That gives you the mandate to do things like try and confiscate property, with all of the ramifications of that. My God, no. If you want to do that, go to the polls.
It's a lot simpler than that. You know what? Just look at the deficit that we have acquired since he started. You know what? Any Canadian can look at that. You know what? We were kind of even before he started. Look at the deficit that Canada's in right now. It just a simple fact like that, and then add the personal property tax, add the outrageous taxes. Add the control of Canadians. Add that to the mix. It makes you wonder why anybody would even vote for him. But according to the polls, he's ahead in the polls.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's ahead in the polls. Yeah, well, if you're expecting Angus Reid to poll accurately in this country, you're going to be waiting a long time.
No, it's not. That's never going to happen.
Maybe we should do our own poll.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. So moving on. I mean, what else we got here? Wrapping up to 2022. We've had some great events. We've had great NFA events. Absolutely well attended. We did the Range Day Big Bang Top Gun show. It was it was good turnout. We had a big turnout. We did our BYOG event, Bring Your Own Gun. That was a great turnout. Had a lot of fun at that. Just recently, well, actually, it's quite a while now. TACCOM. We were there, and it was great. Everybody's coming up to the booth and talking with us, and like this to see the support that we're getting now. This had thank you, Liberals. This has really brought the firearms community together, right? They were coming to the booth, sign me up. I didn't think they were going to come for my hunting rifle. Sign me up.
I compare it to 25 years ago, and the despair at the lack of a political alternative. People were truly giving up at that time, because there were no alternatives, due to the political environment at the time. Today, it's a heck of a lot different. We have grown so much. Farms community has gotten politically active to the point now where we are a major factor in conservative leadership campaigns. They know. They know we vote. They know that we support their leaders when they're on track to support the rights and freedoms of Canadians. So, that is why we are in a very powerful political position here. The only thing that's stopping us from, bringing in real fundamental firearms law reform is, this Justin Trudeau government. And once they are gone, we will make further reforms, because I know the Conservative Party is going to be interested in a legislative agenda to correct everything, every offense that the Liberals have committed against the rights and freedom of Canadians since they got elected in 2016.
Yeah, and like I say, we're kind of jumping around a bit, but Jordan alluded to the fact that we did a bunch of events and stuff in 22, but we've got a lot more planned for. Let's talk about 23. We've got a lot of stuff planned across Canada. We're going to reach out to places where where we need to garner some support, in different provinces and stuff. And you know what? We at the NFA are probably the most approachable people out there. Come and talk to any one of us. We'll talk to you. We don't sit there and turn our backs on anybody. We make a point of talking to our members and non-members alike. So, like I say, we've got a bunch of stuff planned for 23. It's going to be a lot of fun. This whole conversation has been so morbid with what's going on in the gun world. Let's talk about the fun stuff that's going to happen in 23.
It's like our gun events. It's great because we get on the firing line, and you're shooting and you're talking. It's like it's great. And I always have a lot of fun, like
Yeah.
and it's great seeing some of the members bring out their younger ones, and you put a gun in their hand, and you set them up in the smile. It's great to see that that they're getting it, they're getting interested in this at a younger age. What's saddening is that when they reach that age, unless we make a change, they're not going to be able to buy that pistol.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to buy that gun, right?
Yeah.
We will make that change. I mean, it's a
We have
foregone
to, yeah.
conclusion.
That's our mandate. We know we need to protect the future generations. You know what? We've been around. Blair and I have been around a long time. Jordan hasn't been around that long. We've shot a lot of guns. I remember the days before the FACs. You go into a hardware store, you buy a gun, you go to take it in your backfield, and you shoot it. I want our future generations. And I wrote about this in my column and stuff. We need to think about the future generations, and that's why the NFA. That's one of our mandates, to make sure that future generations of firearms enthusiasts get the same stuff that we had. Have the same fun that we had when we were younger. Without these ludicrous liberal restrictions and laws that are just pushing everything into the dirt and trying to bury it. I want 3 generations now for a father and son to go to their range and take a 22 pistol and shoot a brick of 22 ammo off. It's a fun family thing to do, and that's one of my personal mandates, is to make sure that I'm going to do everything in my ability, and our team of guys are going to do everything in their ability to make, and gals are going to do everything in their ability to make sure that future generations have get to enjoy the same rights and freedoms that we enjoyed.
And it's a Canadian thing to do. Okay.
Exactly.
It's always been part of this country. Okay. And I know there was a period there where people thought, well, for public safety, maybe we should compromise a little bit, and, a little bit of give and take. And, I'll be a little more, circumspect in practicing, my firearms ownership and that sort of thing. But I'll tell you, we are on track to make real political headway in this country. And who's mostly responsible for that is the Liberal Party itself, because they have ticked off so many Canadians and gotten so many Canadians interested in this. People who would have never, considered, do I want to buy a gun? Why do I want to do this? Do I want to, hunt, target shoot, and increasingly self-defense? There are a lot of people out there, and especially in cities, who see this as maybe something they need to do for self-defense. Now, that's a complicated issue. Obviously, we all know the complications of using firearms for self-defense in Canada. Yes, you can, but the law complicates it, regulations complicate it, and you better be very, very sure of what you're doing before you even consider it. But the fact of the matter is, there's no lack of interest in this. Okay,
No.
The Liberals have not extinguished that. They have not created they attempted to create a narrative where this is not Canadian. That's an American thing. Canadians don't do that. Yeah, well, you know what? Canadians do that, and they're doing it more and more. And that's why you're basically introducing these irresponsible and freedom killing laws, because you want to nip it in the bud. Don't
they're
you?
They're out of touch. The Liberals are out of touch.
If there's any kind of indicator, and Jordan and I were actually discussing this the other day, PAL courses, it's impossible to get in one. People are coming out of the woodwork and getting their pals.
I was just going to go there, Rick. I was going to say, like if Canadians are not interested, why can you not get into a class to get your firearms license, your PAL course? Right, like they're booked solid everywhere. I guess myself and Rick are speaking from Ontario. Blair, I don't know what it's like out your way, but
absolutely. I mean, there is no lack of interest, and I see it every day. Okay, I mean, as some people out there know, I'm with Lever Arms Service in Vancouver, one of the biggest and oldest gun stores in Vancouver, and the people that come through the doors of this store is literally every part of Canadian society. Yeah, you get your stereotype gun guys, of course you do, but it is literally it's anybody and everybody. So, I mean, if the Liberals thought they were going to create a narrative or a culture of contempt of firearms and that sort of thing, they have done the opposite. They did it with long gun registration. They're doing it now with C-21 and their attempt to confiscate the rights and property of Canadians. So, way to go, Liberal Party. Shoot yourself in the foot.
Yep.
I think that was one of the comments that came in
Yeah.
earlier, right? And
Yeah.
it's true though. They really have,
Yeah.
and they played their cards. They played them wrong. They played
Boy,
with
did
these
they ever.
dirty tactics. It 2023 is going to be rough for a little bit. It's like our events. We're gonna be having to change things around as things go along. If new things develop or they pull an
We'll
OIC
adapt.
because they're
Yeah.
not getting their way, we adapt. We still do our thing, and at the end of the day, we will win, right?
No, and the fact of the matter is, as long as you are still in possession of your guns, as long as you are still in possession of your property, well, you know what? It's a political factor that they have to face, and they're facing it now, and it's very serious, and it's going sideways on them.
Yeah.
Yep. Another note: if your license is expiring soon, don't wait till the last moment. Start early. I did mine just in case because I heard rumors that it was taking forever. I did mine a year in advance. I did it on a Tuesday or Wednesday, and I had it the following Tuesday. I was actually quite shocked. But then I keep seeing these in our closed NFA groups. I keep seeing people saying, "Hey, I'm waiting 8 months now, 9 months. Like, where's my card? Should I be calling? What's going on?" And then you get other people saying, "Oh, they're telling me the printer's broken," or "Oh, we're
Oh,
not processing right now." And it's funny how they weren't processing the restricted licenses when the handgun thing. They're trying to slow things. I personally think they're trying to slow things down because of
what
that.
what
Yeah.
what
You
people
know,
what people have to realize is the Canadian Firearms Program is in total chaos right now. Okay,
yeah,
they cannot handle the number of license applications, renewals, handgun transfers, which have been backed up for months and months and months,
yeah.
requests for ATTs, all of the things that CFOs are tasked with doing, they cannot do it. The firearms program cannot do it. The personnel at the firearms program cannot provide clear direction for Canadians who want to know where they stand in this process. It's a total and complete failure. Okay,
Well,
so
so
if
like
you're caught up in this,
most of the systems are dated though, and they did that on purpose because they don't care, right? 'Cause,
But
oh, it's
no, I
just
mean,
firearms owners, right?
no,
You
but
know,
but
like
people have to understand that because they're used to dealing with other government bureaucracies where it's like, okay, it takes time, but it's reasonable. This is completely unreasonable. It's meant to be completely unreasonable. And if you're stuck in
mhm.
this process, please understand it's going to take you many months or even years to wind your way through it. That's the way it is.
yeah, in Ontario, I spoke to a CFO not that long ago, and they're really, really understaffed at the CFO office in Aurelian, Ontario. And I said to them, "Well, why don't you hire people?" "Oh, we won't do that. There's no budget for that." I've talked to people that have been waiting 6 months for a transfer that they initiated before the handgun ban went into place, and 6 months in Ontario. I don't know what it's like in BC, Blair, but there's people on private transfers in Ontario that have been waiting 6 months.
Yeah, there's really no rhyme or reason, and I know that how CFOs go about the process of approving transfers is, well, they have a certain workload, right? Transfers are at the bottom of that workload. It's not their job to help you get a gun. Okay, it's their job to find a way to prevent you from getting a gun.
Yep.
So what do they have to do? The absolute first priority is renewal of firearms licenses because they know that if a license expires, that's a criminal offense. Even if you have applied 6 months before and you did not receive your renewal, that's a criminal offense. Now, there is an amnesty, a 6 month amnesty in place for that. But we're already getting people getting to the end of those amnesties, haven't seen their renewal, cannot contact CFO, don't know what's going on. And they're going to be in the put in the position of, I'm not covered by an amnesty anymore. But CFOs do realize that those people must receive their firearms license renewals before the 6 month amnesty runs out. And if you have to miss the hunting season, too bad for you. If you can't use your firearms legitimately, too bad for you. We'll try and get you your renewal before your amnesty runs out.
If you
So
have prohibs, too bad for you. Guess what? You just lost them because you didn't renew your PAL, right?
but that's the first prerogative of CFOs to approve those renewals, because if it comes out that people are losing their property because of bureaucratic malfeasance or just simply falling down on the job, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
License applications, then they have to do that. The ATTs, all of the new ATTs that they have to process and issue for routine things. My God, none of this should exist. You should not have to have a license to own your property. You should not have to ask permission to use your property legitimately. You should not have to ask permission to transfer your property to another individual. This is insanity, and we're living it now.
Yeah. Well, that was part of C71, right? Where they basically took all the ATTs away. They go to a gun shop. Come on now. Why did we have to take that away? To go to a gunsmith. Really?
You heard the reasons. I mean, during Bill C-42 and the discussions on the reforms that, oh, no, gun owners are going to be taking their handguns to Safeway to go shopping. They're just going to be in the trunk of the car. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. And it's that type of fear mongering, that liberals hope that's going to grab the imagination of Canadians and support their gun agenda, but it doesn't anymore. It doesn't, because people know this is nonsense. And the fact that they would stand up in those committee hearings and make asses of themselves the way they have been for the last several weeks is just amazing, because nobody buys it anymore.
Yeah.
There's a few people out there that buy it. There's a couple of Kool-Aid drinkers, right?
Yeah. We watch the committee meetings, and you know what? And they're making assholes of themselves, and they know they're making asses of themselves, but they proceed to completely make asses of themselves. They can't answer simple questions. The questions, it's a vicious circle that leads to making an ass of yourself every time. And they don't care, though.
And it's going to lead to their defeat.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate people's frustration, at this point in time, because hey, I'm feeling it too. I mean, I've been there for the ride, believe me. Okay, but I mean, I've been in gun politics in Canada for over 25 years, and I've seen a few things. And
you're a veteran.
Yeah.
I've seen a little too much.
Yeah. I can't believe you're still here, Blair, but that's another story.
I'm experienced.
Thank you for this.
I'm a little too experienced. But I mean, there's a political cycle that takes place, and political change is inevitable. Okay, even with Stephen Harper's government, as good as that government was, I mean, they were going to lose an election at some point. We were going to have a new government, and that is what's happening to this government now. To have to rely on the NDP to prop them up, to stay in government, to not have a mandate to legislate, not have a mandate to do what they want to do to Canadians, and look at some of the things that they want to do to Canadians in terms of their economic and cultural futures. You better go to the polls and get a mandate, because if you don't have any legitimacy in doing things like basically changing the lifestyle and culture of Canada to suit your own frankly Marxist ends. And I feel very comfortable in calling them Marxists now, because that is what they are. They don't represent Canada. They represent an ideology. And
with that said, Blair, you know what? We're going to have to probably wrap this up pretty soon. We've been going for quite a while here. But you know what? Go to the range. Take a non-shooter to the range. Go have some fun. Come out to one of our events. Talk to us. Like I say, we're very approachable, and we love talking to firearms enthusiasts and people that aren't. We'll talk to anybody about, we'll talk about it to anybody about guns and gun rights. So, come out to one of our events. Like I say, take somebody to the range, in the new year, take somebody to the range that hasn't been to the range before. Let them shoot some guns, because you know what? It's very seldom they're going to say that they didn't have any fun. So, I just wanted to kind of close it off with that, take somebody to the range and, introduce them to firearms, and, we need all the help we can get. And if you have any spare change, please donate to us. We're non for profit, and it's you people that keep us alive and fighting for your gun rights.
And if you just happen to catch this and you're not a PAL holder yet, don't let this discourage you. Things will change, and there's tons of guns out there right now. You can get started, and things will get better as we go along, right?
Yeah.
So Rick, I'm guessing that that was pretty much hey, wrap it up, flashing the red light in the back there. So all right, let's wrap it up there. I mean, it's the wrap up show. I wanted to go a little bit longer. We did have a lot. I mean, I'm sure we probably could have gone another 20 minutes. We had more to cover, but sure. It is what it is. We'll come back in the new year. So until then, thank you everybody that's been tuning in consistently. I have noticed, I keep seeing the commenters. We do have quite a few people that there's quite a few that have never missed a show. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you everybody that's been, sharing our content and, pushing it around. Maybe try to push it more towards somebody that's not within the community. We need to get outside of the echo chambers. We need to get outside and educate, that one percentage I talked about earlier that does not care or know about guns, just to help, with our defense against this, attack that we have with the government.
Yeah.
So with all that, I'm gonna wrap it up, and I'm gonna say to everyone, Happy New Year's, and we'll see you in 2023.
Happy New Year's, everybody. Like I say, my thanks to everybody. And you know what? I appreciate everybody out there that watches us. And you know what? Your help, and I know a lot of you have helped the NFA. We greatly appreciate it. Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah, NFA members are fighters. I mean, we've had a lot of members in this fight for, as long as I've been in and longer. And now we've got a new generation. They understand the stakes. They understand, what we need to do in this country to secure this Canadian right and cultural tradition. And we're doing it now, and we are going to be front and center in the next election. So our members are the best. Bar
Absolutely.
none.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks for listening to this episode of NFA Talk. Like and follow the NFA on social media and sign up to become a member.